while I was in California,
Right.
both the Captain Marvel and Avengers Endgame, as we now know it's called,
Right.
trailers dropped, and we all collectively just milked our pants.
Yeah, big time.
It was pretty impressive. I must say, Captain Marvel's a movie I haven't really been psyched for. I wasn't really. They already had a trailer out, so it's a new trailer for Captain Marvel.
It's like an actual full-size trailer.
Instead of a teaser. I'm never a big Captain Marvel fan, mostly because through my youth, she was just a thought bubble in Rogue's head.
Right.
It wasn't until, I think it's more in modern era, that she's been more of another character, and back in the day in the 60s and 70s.
Right.
I am a big fan of Ms. Marvel, the little girl in Jersey City.
Yes.
The college girl.
Kamala Khan.
But this is cool. I have some thoughts and some feelings, but let me know what you thought about the trailer.
I was super excited about it. I love Carol Danvers. I love the Captain Marvel character. I really think that, when they cast a movie like this, you're always kind of like trying to picture, essentially what you're trying to do is try to picture the person in the suit before you actually picture how they're going to act, because Brie Larson is a fantastic actress. You're still just trying to wrap your head around them being in the suit, doing the action scenes. I was tickled pink when I saw this trailer. I love the look of Nick Fury back in the day with both eyes. I love the time period that it's taking place in. I love that they're fighting the Skrulls. I love that this big chunk of the Marvel Universe that I always felt was really missing is finally going to be brought into the Marvel Universe in a way that I don't feel is going to be heavy-handed at all. So I am psyched.
I am not a fan of aliens.
Right?
When I mean aliens, I mean the Aliens of Sigourney Weaver series. I mean, anytime the X-Men would go into space, not my favorite comic book issues.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit apprehensive. That said, they did Guardians of the Galaxy very well.
Exactly.
So I don't see why they can't do this very well. The other thing that they showed in this trailer was huge representation of the alien races, the Kree and the Skrull, and they did them very well. There's a lot of space explosions and just a lot of space.
Yes.
But in a good way, in a very well produced way, which is why my mind is like, why can't they get Dark Phoenix right?
Well, that's kind of the other side of the coin.
I know, and I know Dark Phoenix is just gonna be a sad disappointment, and we're gonna all feel like they blew their load because now they're got to wait another half decade to do a reboot of it again.
What's the sad part is that Hambone will watch anything. I actually don't want to watch the Dark Phoenix movie because I know it's going to be terrible. I am going to see it though because we need content for the show. However, I'm just like,
but watching Captain Marvel, I'm like, well, they pretty much do the sequences and the interactions, and the aliens are like, well, that is what it would look like if they did the Dark Phoenix properly.
Right.
And the only good version of Dark Phoenix that was done in real world scenarios is the cartoon animation version in the 90s cartoon.
Yes. Oh my God, the Fox 90 cartoon.
But that was done really well. And all the stories were true to the source material while still being for kids, but it was dark.
It's amazing how when you look back at those cartoons, how they scaled it just right so they could walk the fine line between actually telling a good story and making it appealing for children who buy action figures, who maybe aren't really ready to read at that level and understand the kind of heavy subtext that's going on.
Do you feel that Captain Marvel is going to also play the part of Adam Warlock in this movie?
Yes.
Or in Avengers Endgame?
I think unless something happens where we finally get to see Adam Warlock, because Adam Warlock was teased in the Guardians movies, which is kind of an integral part to the Infinity Gauntlet story, which is, I'm not spoiling anything, it's like 30-something years old at this point. I don't know. I feel like they, in the original comic, the Silver Surfer knocks the gauntlet off. So we don't have the Silver Surfer. So maybe we have Adam Warlock, or just Carol Danvers is the man.
I just feel Adam Warlock is too Doctor Strange adjacent.
Yeah.
And Doctor Strange, like when they just recently, and I think also this week they announced Doctor Strange 2 is coming, and I hope that was true, and I didn't read some I
honestly didn't hear much about it.
I think I did read. I just don't care. Doctor Strange was a movie that just existed, but didn't they could have easily incorporated that into 5 minutes of another movie.
Right.
Doctor Strange was a fine movie.
I enjoyed it.
Okay. Much like Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I just thought it just existed to exist and it really didn't do much to advance the storylines.
I really liked Guardians 2. I really loved parts of it. I think it was definitely a plot mover more than anything. The first one's, I think, a perfect Marvel movie. It's interesting, though, when you talk about the trailers, how by this point, I am not a filmmaker by any stretch of the imagination. However, if you gave me a bunch of shit from a Marvel movie, I'm confident I could put together a note-for-note Marvel trailer because they're all exactly the same.
And also, do you think they're going to use this opportunity to bring back the Silver Surfer in Captain Marvel by rewriting the past because this movie takes place in the 80s or 90s?
Yeah, I just don't know. I'm like, my nerd brain is firing on all cylinders right now. There's so much speculation that I could lay down right now, which is it's almost become like a wrestling fantasy booking scenario with the Marvel Universe, because there's so many different ways they could do it. And then, is there going to be time travel in Avengers Endgame? And, God, it's a lot.
The one thing I can tell you is I do not think the X-Men are going to appear in this universe until after this Avengers storyline.
I agree.
Mostly because the deal's not even done yet. But even then, they're going to need an onboarding process. They need to figure out what to do with Ryan Reynolds. They need to do a lot of things. So
yeah.
I think it's not going to be for maybe another 2-3 years before the X-Men are put into the universe. If anything, maybe you'll see more of them at Disney or something. But,
oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I would like to see, because there's no X-Men representation anywhere in licensing with Marvel right now, which sucks.
Nope. You have to go to Universal Islands of Adventure to see any kind of X-Men representation. Dudes in Wolverine costumes.
Well, that's a story for a different day.
Yeah.
Because as we know, they don't own the theme park rights.
It's gonna be a while, guys.
That's crazy that they actually can't put Marvel. They have, I think, in Tokyo Disney, they have an Avengers segment.
That's a can of worms. I don't think we should get
talk
into.
about it. We also might talk about it later in the show when we talk about my SoCal adventures.
Yes.
SCU. Endgame.
I am fucking beyond excited for this.
That trailer, if you haven't seen it yet, please just stop what you're doing now and go watch it.
Go watch it.
It was a very well done trailer.
One of the best they've ever put together.
The opening minute of just Tony Stark giving his final, almost like a suicide note, his just final thoughts to his helmet, because that has a recorder just saying, "Well, I'm out of air. I'm out of water. I'm out of food. I'm probably not gonna make it to the morning. We did our best. We failed."
To start off, I mean, granted, there's been this that would be the 18th movie or 19th movie they made, like 17, 18 movies building to this point. After everything, to start a trailer off with Tony Stark dying alone in space is a bold move.
Amazing. And I'd forgotten he had drifted off into space chasing after Thor, the Hulk, or Spider-Man.
Well, in fairness, so many people died. You needed a second. You forgot who died. If I'm being very honest, by the time of the trailer, I had to go back and read up on all right, who actually died.
I also enjoy the fact that they very quickly, you don't have to wait for the movie. You find out that both Hawkeye and Ant-Man, this is where they this is why they weren't in the original one,
right?
Because Ant-Man, they kind of just forgot about him after Captain America, Winter Soldier, Civil War. And Hawkeye just went off and did what he said he was going to be, which raises the important question, Hambone.
Yes.
Do you think they're going to go leftovers? Do you think Hawkeye's entire family will...
Oh, they're dead.
Yes, right?
They're so dead. And so is Ant-Man's.
Ant-Man can go either way, because we don't know whether the snap took place before or after the Ant-Man movie. Because
it takes place after the Ant-Man movie.
But Ant-Man came out after Avengers came out.
Yes, but it came out after, but it takes place at the same time, because when Ant-Man ends up, spoilers, when Ant-Man ends up in the quantum realm is the moment the snap happens.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, it's after the credits. It lines up. So he's in the quantum realm while the snap happens, so the snap doesn't affect him. However, everyone else he loves dies. So yeah, you're going to have two sides of the same coin. You're going to have Ant-Man trying to figure it out, and then you've got Hawkeye, who is Ronin from the comics now, which is awesome on a very different level, who is just, we don't know what he's doing, but it can't be good.
Too bad I still hate that actor as Hawkeye.
Yeah, I know.
He just does, it never clicks, just like him as Jason Bourne.
I think that, I do enjoy Jeremy Renner. However, I think if they had a different actor playing the character, he probably would have gotten more screen time in other Avenger movies.
Yeah, I agree. The brooding, like, he just doesn't do it right.
Right, but there's brooding and then there's brooding.
Yeah,
like,
he's a little too Batman-y. Like, I haven't loved as a choice character in a movie, not as a Batman.
He could have been a little more snarky, a little more antagonistic, and I think that would have taken him from broody to that kind of like edgy outsider, but I'm a part of a team, cool guy.
Now, I believe in Leftovers, 3% of the population just vanished one day.
Right, so it
didn't even dawn on me that that's very similar to this story. Now, in Leftovers, I don't know if they're actually going to pull from Leftovers, which is one of the greatest ran TV shows of all time. They went to a quantum alternate universe where 97% of the population disappeared.
Right.
That's how it finished. Like, it turns out like there was actually another alternate reality where 93, and that's where all the people that the 3% went to live. And that one was like post-apocalyptic hell because 97% of the population disappeared.
Yeah, well, do it.
And whereas our world, only 3% disappeared, so it's just a very sad, depressing place. I'm very curious whether Avengers is going to touch on that, and I wish that's what they would use the Netflix series for, to touch on what's life like now for normal people when half the population disappears. It's not just half the superheroes, half
the population.
And I think they even say it in there, it's half the creatures in the world, I don't know if it's the world or the universe. Disappear. So it's not even just humans, it's your dogs, it's the deer, it's your raccoons. No. The fat raccoons in front of my house, I like to rub their butts together.
I didn't think about the puppies.
No, they're gone. Half. They're lucky they didn't just cut them in half.
I'm sad.
So I'm just curious whether the other half are in some alternative universe.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Yeah, then we'd go Leftovers. Like, I don't know.
That would be super Leftovers.
I'm just saying it would be kind of cool.
So the guys who directed Endgame swore that the Netflix people aren't going to show up in this movie.
They can't.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
No, it's over. It's sad, but it's over. Punisher's coming out in January, and then they're going to announce it's canceled the next day.
They are. And you know what? The thing I read up on today is that when they're canceled, they got to wait like 3 years before they can appear somewhere else. So we're not going to get any kind of, we're canceled, but we're bringing it back to the Disney Channel streaming service.
Though someone did straight up say Defenders is not coming back.
Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing.
We're not. Let's just not. You hear about that one guy, though? He actually, out of speculation, he bought AvengersEndgame.com, and he's holding it ransom, not for money. He just wants to pick tickets for him and his wife to go to the premiere. And he's like, I'll hand it right over. But, they're not, obviously, they're not going to negotiate.
Disney don't negotiate.
Yeah, come on.
You just get a giant freaking cease and desist in the mail and hand over that right. Or they'll just pay him a couple grand. Oh, boy. I won't even get to it. Endgame. Do you think it's so one thing we don't know for sure is I hope it doesn't end the I hope it ends this Thanos storyline.
Right.
But I hope it doesn't mean an end and then a reboot of the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe.
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I know certain characters, their contracts are super up and they cost all the money to keep them going. I don't think that it's the end of this version of the Marvel Universe per se. I think it's the end of certain character arcs and certain character storylines. So, maybe there's Thor. I mean, don't ever make another Thor movie. Ragnarok is a perfect movie. Let it be where it ends.
And I think Chris Hemsworth would be fine just coming and doing a Thor thing every couple years.
Popping in, cool. Yeah. Make a Falcon as Captain America movie. I'm here for it.
But Chris Evans is done. I mean, I think it's pretty clear.
Yeah, I think he's done. Downey Jr.'s got to be done.
They got to find new Drax.
Well, yeah.
You think he's going to backpedal on that a little bit?
I don't think he's going to backpedal on it, but I don't think that I don't know that there's going to be another Guardians of the Galaxy movie just period. I think they're just going to let that be.
Well, especially if they're now bringing in the X-Men 2 as well. I think there's so much room for their characters to have individual stories. Not just them, but like Wolverine and Magneto and even like the original X-Men versus the new X-Men. Like they could even do an X-Men in the 60s, like Days of Future Past.
Yes.
At the same time that they're doing the modern X-Men.
I think it also gives them a good way to retcon characters that they killed. So ultimately, if they ever say, once everyone's involved, decide to do an actual Secret Wars, they could do Secret Wars. Mm-hmm. They could do these big, crazy stories. And the fact is they've conditioned us to want it. They've conditioned us to be able to accept it. I don't think in the early 2000s when the X-Men movies had popped up, we really could have wrapped our heads around, we're going to keep doing these movies outside of like a trilogy and keep it going and building a story that is an overreaching story over not just a trilogy, but now going on like 19 movies. We're good. We'll be here for it. We'll be amped on it. I would love to see Secret Wars.
I just would, again, all I want to do is I don't want to see what?
Oh, to finish statement, because then I have something to say, because I just remember something that I saw that I need to bring up on air.
Do it.
Fucking Venom is terrible.
So we were going to watch it on Saturday or Sunday night, and we chose not to. Did we choose right?
You chose wisely. So it just popped into my head because I was thinking Secret Wars. The first thing that pops to mind is black costume Spider-Man, and I got really excited. And then I remember that I saw Venom. Why? Why did you make this movie? I don't even want to call it a movie. It was terrible. Like, they're trying to create their own Venom universe. And like and retconning the way that Venom exists, where Venom comes from, and like trying to fit like 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag, and like Eddie Brock was like a cardboard guy, and then you got like the suit was just. They got to everything too fast. Like, they should have just brought Venom into like the Spider-Man universe with Spider-Man, but no, man, they got ambitious, and it sucked. It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
Really, worse than Age of Apocalypse?
Ooh, it's a foot race.
Or X3?
I'd rather watch X3. X3 actually makes a little more sense.
I'm just looking right now. I wanted to see. So, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse has 98% Rotten Tomato, which is kind of nuts. I wanted to see what the early reviews were. Aquaman's at 74%.
I'm excited to go see Aquaman. That's gonna be fun.
And Bumblebee, you ready for it?
My ready face on.
I gotta see how many reviews though. Like, these aren't certified fresh, by the way, but right now out of 34 reviews, which means it looks like they've released a reviewing. Bumblebee's at 97%.
I'm excited for it. There's a lot of good movies coming out this holiday season, and I'm ready to go.
That wasn't going to be one of them.
Yeah, it was. John Cena's in it. I'm there. And Starscream.
And thumbs up from the Los Angeles Times, Variety, Hollywood Reporter, The Wrap.
Good reviews.
I'm betting, I'm willing to put this might be my Christmas Eve movie, and I'm going to put money on it. It's going to be a tough sell on Allison. It's going to be a tough sell on Allison.
John Cena's in it.
Yeah, but it's a Transformers movie, and they haven't had a good Transformers movie in a very long.
I think this is going to be the one.
Since the first.
I think it's going to be the one.
Or we'll talk about those in upcoming episodes.
But yeah, for reals, don't go see Venom. Why?
But get ready for Captain Marvel and Avengers.
2 thumbs up.
So let's transition to another comic property.
Right.
We don't need to give this a ton of time. We've already seen it, but I want your thoughts. I can't believe you went to see Deadpool PG-13.
So it's interesting because
it's not a money grab, clearly.
Well, that's what I thought it was going to be going in. I was like, all right, I want to see it because it took a lot of balls. Like, Deadpool 2, I think, is a fantastic comic book movie. I think it's one of the best. It's so well written. It's something I think I saw like 3 times in theaters.
I think it's better than the first.
I do agree that it's better than the first. And I'm like, how are they going to take this? And what are they just going to cut it and take out all the F words and take out some of the blood? And what are they going to do with it? They actually went and remade the movie by making it The Princess Bride. And the Peter Falk telling the story to Fred Savage, except instead of a young Fred Savage, it's Fred Savage now, and it's Deadpool playing Peter Falk telling the story of Deadpool 2 to Fred Savage. It was fucking hilarious. I sat there and I'm like, okay, so this is going to be like one gag, how they start the movie, and then the movie will go on and do its thing. The entire movie, there are parts in the movie where things happen, where it cuts back to Fred Savage's bedroom in The Princess Bride, and Deadpool and him interacting, and like Fred Savage fully playing the part of himself as a kid in his bedroom in Princess Bride.
And it works?
It actually works.
Does it do anything that recall Princess Bride beyond, you don't have to give a spoiler, but beyond just that room?
No.
Okay.
But it doesn't need to.
Like, they don't resurrect Andre the Giant or anything.
God, I wish. No, they do a fun thing where, I think it's interesting because Deadpool's always wearing a mask. You can kind of like have him say whatever you want because you don't actually see his face.
Well, that's why most of the best jokes in the original movie, the original version, were of him masked, because from what I hear, he sat there and redid every joke until it hit.
Right.
Because he could in overdubs.
Yeah, and that's essentially what you have here. You have some jokes that have been completely rewritten. There is some clever use of the bleeping sound, which brings out one of the funniest jokes in the movie. You also have some scenes that I think were cut from the original movie that are cut back into it, and you lose the entire original beginning of the movie. They kind of recut it to work within the Princess Bride theme of the overall film. And then, of course, there's a new after credit scene and then more after credit stuff. I really enjoyed the movie. I don't know that if a person wants to see Deadpool 2 for the first time, I don't think this is for you, because Deadpool 2, as it is, just the way it is a perfect superhero movie, and it's the better version of the two Deadpool movies. That said, if you loved the Deadpool 2, this is really good for a laugh. Like, it's cool because there's certain parts where you're like, all right, I don't have to fully pay attention to this because I've seen this already. However, a decent amount of the jokes are new. They did take out a lot of the blood. They totally had some fun with the leg scene. Mm-hmm. I thought it was great. I was happy that I went to see it before I came here. I don't think it is a money grab for all the extra stuff that they put into it. However, if you don't get to see it in theaters, that's okay. Definitely watch it when it comes on TV. It's really fun.
I wouldn't be shocked if they put it on TV or on Netflix or whatever on-demand service very quickly.
So it was only playing one theater.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. It was only playing in one theater, and it was a regular theater. So I did some looking around in the area. It wasn't playing in, definitely not playing in IMAX, definitely not playing in Dolby. You're going to go see this in the regular theater. If your theater doesn't have the assigned seats, you're sitting in the regular theater. Like, I was in this theater, and there were 4 other people in the theater. There's one person sitting way in the front, God knows why. There was an elderly couple, and they were like on a date, and they were like cuddling the whole time.
They were the ones who were actually having sex in the movie.
They were proud. There was probably some hand stuff happening there. He might have cut a hole in the bottom of the popcorn.
Yep.
And the theater was so empty. It was like farting without fear of reprisal. Empty. Like, no one is gonna know. You're just doing you. One guy, the 4th person in the theater, came over and tried to sit by me, and I kind of looked at him. I gave him the no. Like, why would you try to sit next to someone in a completely empty theater? Like,
because he had a hole in the bottom of his popcorn. You can play.
The hand doesn't play. Get on your own side of the theater.
Okay,
jerk.
so that explains a lot, because it didn't even rank in the top 10 of the box office last week.
Well, it's not ranking in the top 10 of the box office. The original Deadpool 2, I just checked out on Rotten Tomatoes, 83.85 is overall score, right? This one, I don't think people were too happy with it.
Really?
Because this one was 51.65.
Ooh, that's really low.
Yeah.
That's weird. I didn't see the review for it. I didn't know they would actually be reviewing it. Anyway.
Well, it is, in a lot of ways, a different movie. Mm-hmm. And big ups to Fred Savage. You were great in this movie. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I mean, it's definitely not something like the first Deadpool that I went and saw 3 times. One's enough.
I will wait till it's in the theaters, but I'll wait till it's on DVD, and I appreciate you watching the shit we won't watch. Thank you, Hambone.
Hambone will watch anything.